Live to live night news. If you're a lot like me, then you might not like you. Welcome to another episode of Hours of Clarity podcast, Recovery Talks, and today we have two lovely women on from Brentwood Recovery Home. If you guys would like to introduce yourselves.
Hi, I'm Jamie Durham.
And
I'm Aubrey McDougall.
So today, we just got off the topic of fear, and we're going into a new week. The topic is acceptance and kind of blending those two together. And it's kind of I don't know what the right word is, but it's kind of wonderful. It's a little bit a coincidence that they have the topics going into each other like that. Like for me, myself, fear and acceptance came hand in hand. So I'm going to start with Jamie and just kind of talk about maybe what you went through when you were younger, how you found your addiction, what you struggled with, and what brought you to recovery. We can start there.
So a little bit of my life background is I was born in Edmonton, Alberta. I grew up in Stony Plain.
Okay.
I had two wonderful parents. In the beginning of my recovery, I did not see them as wonderful parents, but now that I see how much they sacrificed for us kids and did the best that they could. They got divorced, so essentially, I can go back further than the divorce. I was always the kind of a kid that was a loner. I was very much to myself. I remember starting to really judge my body and the way I looked, probably from the age of 5, which is really sad.
Mm-hmm.
And I desperately wanted to be with the in crowd, but was so full of fear to even say or do anything.
Right.
And then part of that was my judgment of myself, which then turned into I was really getting into a self-loathing already at such a young age that I unfortunately didn't grow out of.
Right.
So not until I got into recovery.
So there's a lot
25.
of fear in that.
There was a lot of fear, a lot of self-pity, and a lot of body dysmorphia already. For sure. Then I had an issue with a family member where I was sexually abused.
Mm-hmm.
I ended up telling my sister after a little bit, and my parents did the right things. My mom, we charged them. I went through the court proceedings. It was the most scariest thing ever. I think I was 8 years old.
Very difficult, yeah.
And I remember being on the stand. I remember being questioned on the stand, cross-examined on the stand. Obviously, at this tender age, I didn't know that. On the way up to court, I was in the elevator with my mom and my dad and the family member and their wife.
Mm-hmm.
And that whole trip up, it felt like forever. It could have been one floor for all I know.
Right.
It was very, very difficult.
Time was standing still.
So I went through a lot just with that. And then when it was all done, I resumed as a child, but different.
Right.
I was very, very different.
Yeah.
You'd have to ask my mom how much of an effect it was and what the effects were. I'm just going off of my own knowledge of what happened and my own emotions of what happened. So when I still was, into body dysmorphia, I was still always telling myself deep-seated core beliefs that I'm not good enough. I'm never going to look like Susie. I'm never going to look like, and these are just made up fictitious.
For the rest of the people, can you explain dysmorphia? Like, what is body dysmorphia?
Is where you basically hate your body, eh?
Okay.
And you don't
She'd probably have a better
you don't
explanation.
see your body the way it is. Like for me, I see myself as like 5 sizes bigger than I am.
Okay.
So like I can look in the mirror and I see myself way bigger than I am. So I'll buy clothes and then I'm like, wow, they don't fit.
Mm-hmm.
But it can come in many different
Shapes.
Like you can see yourself bigger than you are or smaller than you are. You can hate your breasts because you wish that you didn't have them.
Right.
So
it just depends on circumstantial.
Right.
It is, yeah. And for me, she's explaining a lot of it, but mine was I was always too small. I was a stick person.
Yeah.
I had no curve. Like it got really bad, actually.
Right.
Yeah. And I honestly do believe that's a big part of why I got into drugs and drinking, because the complete escape from my mind.
Speaking of escape, I was just reading this today that recovery is facing life on life's terms without an escape. And that's the beginning of going through our emotions or our traumas or all the things that we have to, the path of chaos that we've created in behind us, right? So thinking about the escape, it's like the coping mechanism of, it doesn't matter if it's, mental health or if it's just a physical dependency or what the traumas or problems are in our life, it's just simply escaping those feelings.
In the beginning, yeah, like I really had to learn that is what I was doing, and I had to learn that I wasn't, it was avoiding emotions at all costs, but also avoiding my head.
The thoughts, yeah.
It was constant.
Oh, 100%.
So I think for somebody, like for me and my perspective on things, since you did bring that up, after a certain year in recovery, when you have the sense of like I'm okay now and I feel like I'm going to be okay with not using, you got to listen to your body. 100%. So if your body is escaping, it's escaping for a reason. And now for me, like I had to learn when it was unhealthy.
Right.
Because I'll always battle that side of addiction, but I try my best.
How quick are we to go back to those old character defects? Because I'm already, I'm 3.5 years in, and I jump to that sometimes. Like I jump back into that same programming state of mind where I'm ignoring all the telltale signs, and I will go back into old character behaviors, right? And old patterns. And it's unhealthy. If I had to listen to the anxiety, or if I had to listen to the feelings inside where my body is telling me something that I need to recognize as a problem, let's say like that fight or flight feeling, it's there for a purpose, right?
Absolutely.
Right.
Yeah.
So how old were you when you first started?
Can I say something about character defects just quickly?
Of course.
So it's good to get to know them in the sense of recovery, but my very firm belief is that is just coping mechanisms from your trauma that you've learned in an unhealthy way.
Right.
So it's like really learning about yourself,
it's survival.
your body, and that's why I say, like, I got to know me and be okay with me.
Yes.
I just got off the phone with a woman, and I know her. I'm like, take your shoes off, ground yourself to the floor, just come back to you in the situation that she was handling.
Yeah, so we were talking about chaos, me and one of my sponsees, right? And why we're so quick to be enveloped in it. Right? Even in sobriety, I'm okay with uncomfortable moments, right? Like the most uncomfortable moments are things that are new for me. But to go back to chaos, it's simple for my mind, it's simple for my body, I'm okay with it, right? And it's the survival techniques that I managed to develop throughout 25 years of being in and out of addiction, in and out of negative places, and in very corrupt ways of thinking with people, that it's fine for me there, right? So it's like a survival technique. As human beings, we go right back to that first initial instinct of survival. So what do I know, and how do I know how to deal with it? Well, it's easier to argue than it is to communicate and resolve issues, or, especially with partners or friendships, it's easier to destruct them and live in my chaos and my depression than it is to, resolve the issues or whatever, talk it out and go through all these things. So I found in recovery, it's like going against everything that I've survived through, and it's brand new, right? I don't know if you can relate to that, but
I can.
Yeah.
It all comes back to what Father taught, and that's just learning to love others, but especially ourselves. So if you love yourself, you won't be in a chaotic situation.
Right. I had a guy just tell me that outside. He's like, 3.5 years ago I was on program with you, and he's like, you had a lot of extra. You're extra hyper, you're extra vigilant, you're extra argumentative. He's like, you're extra in everything. And now I can have a conversation with you, and you're, I don't have this chaotic up and down kind of thing going on, right? So it's cool to hear it, it's cool to see it, and it's cool to live it, right? Moments of peace in life.
I think I'm kind of different in that sense because I didn't have a lot of chaos. There was a lot of chaos when I was young, but both my parents went through Brentwood. I was 8 when my dad went through, and I was 11 when my mom went through.
Okay.
So I lived a long period of time where my parents were really good, and I was good, but then my sister wasn't good. And I would escape the chaos. That was my thing. I didn't want any part of it. And now even I've been asked to go to somebody's house to help somebody, and when it's chaotic, I'm not good.
You get nervous.
Like I want to, like I'm like, okay, I gotta go, because I can't handle that, because I'm not used to that. I'm like used to calmness. Like when I go to my mom's house, there's not chaos. Like when I go, so I'm the one that diffuses the chaos. Yeah. And sometimes that can be a lot too, right? Like on 100%. your mental health, when they're like, hey Aubrey, like, can you fix this?
Yeah, why me?
Well, and that's what I had to say no, because so often I'm called to be that fixer, and it's like,
or the mediator.
Yeah, and it's like I have enough going on right now that I can't do that, and I do say no now, and that's something that I had to learn.
Healthy boundaries, right?
Right, and not being that people pleaser. That's what brought me on program, was my people pleasing.
Yeah.
And my lack of awareness of myself and my own self-esteem.
So substance abuse, was that a major issue for you?
No, I didn't have substance.
So that's what I mean. Like there's a lot of different reasons that bring people here, and it's literally like, for me, the substance abuse was a fraction of what needed to be worked on, right? It was my mental health, it was the depression, it was the anxiety, the anger, all the things that went with the reactions. So I don't know, I find that just this place alone has a way of, Brentwood is what I'm talking about, has a way of working miracles for people to become people and live as we do with human interaction, right? Like the front of the gate, or on the sign, where people need people. How cliche is that? I used to think in my life. I used to laugh when people are 20, 30, 40 years sober on the microphone. Like there's no way, I'd say. And that's simply because I couldn't believe it in me, right? A lot of the things that we go through as human beings has nothing to do with the actual physical dependency or addiction with alcohol or drugs. Has a lot to do with the way we respond and react in our lives just as human beings. I was never taught these things as a child. I was never taught these things as a teenager, or let alone would I let anybody teach me or hold me accountable. It was impossible, right?
And I was taught those things and still ended up alcoholic. And that's also the other side. Like you can have two parents that are in recovery and teach you all the right things. Right. And I did all the right things for a very long time. But it was like when my dad passed away, it was like my world just fell apart, and I didn't know how to deal with it. Yeah. And I knew how to, but it was like I couldn't ask for help. Yeah. Because I was so like ingrained in this, like I can do it myself. I made this is the world that I created for myself. I have to do it myself. Right. And that was the part that was missing, is that whole, like, it's okay to ask.
It's like something's tricking us inside of our minds to think that it's okay to be alone and do it by ourselves, or that it's going to work out fine, which it never does, ever. Yeah, I find that the same things were happening in my life as a child, that I could make it out no matter what the situation was. I was strong enough, I could do it. So, like, even growing up into a young adult, I remember having good jobs and doing good things with my life. I was working on a pipeline in Fort McMurray, Alberta. And if I had just stuck to it, I would be making decent money. Instead, I believed that whatever addiction issues I was going through were just temporary. I could make it out, no problem. The depression and the separations I had with relationships and my daughter, I believed that I was going to be able to fix that in due time. And, the course would take its natural, course of action, and I would be okay, right? And eventually I'm going to be in my daughter's life no matter what. And all these things without effort. Right? Like without taking action, I assumed that they would work themselves out and that I was going to be all right with it. And it never ever ended up happening, right? I just got worse and worse and worse, mentally, physically, and emotionally, right? Mm-hmm. To a point where there was no spiritual connection in life whatsoever. Anyways, back to Jamie. I just wanted to find out, substance became an issue with you when? At what age?
11.
11, okay. Mm-hmm. Very young.
Yeah, I think I started using cocaine at 14.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Progressed.
Mm-hmm.
Progressed to crack. Not very, maybe a couple years, 3. No, wait a minute. God, it's such a blur back then. I started to use crack. I used crack for a long time. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was like, that's the devil's drug.
Same thing with myself.
Devil's drug.
Yeah.
And then, I had different bouts of using using needles, mm-hmm. Banging cocaine. Not very long though, because I remember a person said to me when I was out there, because I could never do it to myself, and he said, I'm going to tell you right now, you should learn how to do this because somebody could give you a speedball and you'll be dead.
Right.
And it's like, oh, well, I'm just going to stop. And I stopped.
Good.
It was like, you know, a pivotal moment while I was out there.
Able to do that on your own, that's,
stopped it.
yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah, just stopped.
They say, what was it, 3% roughly of people that, you know, have intravenous use will stop and never go back. And if you take the world's population at 8 billion people and you divide that by 3%, it's something in the quarter of a billion or like 240 or 50 million people. Something like that.
The reason why, and I know why I was able to do that, is really because I was in a survival mode, like most people are that are out there using. But everything that I went through in my threshold with my trauma, I very much always had to know what the hell was going on. Always. So, you know, I had somebody give me an 80, an Oxy 80. I never even knew what it was, but I would just like, boop. If somebody gave me something, I never asked any questions. I was sick for 2 days.
That's what happened with me.
And then it was like, well, I'm never doing that again. And then somebody gave me, I don't know, there was 800 Ativan.
Oh my.
To sell. And I was like, oh yeah, this is going to be great. And then I started taking them. I don't even know how much I took, but I know a lot.
Completely out of it, yeah.
Yeah, and I probably dropped a bunch. I have no
The same
idea.
thing happened with me with an Oxy 80. I broke my ribs in a fight. I got in a fight with a guy at in Sault Ste. Marie in the steel plant parking lot, and he tackled me and broke my ribs. I'm at a house, and buddy's like, just take this. You'll be all right. You'll feel better, right?
Yeah.
And I was using at the time, I was smoking crack, and I ended up like puking and being violently ill for a couple, if not 3 days, right? Yeah, it was not good. I could have overdosed and died.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy what the world we live in, and people think it's just normal, right? Oh, just take this, you'll feel better. Like, and it's a doctor that I'm supposed to trust or something, and it's just some random guy off the street. Yeah, not good, not healthy. Very poor decision making. So that's as a teenager, and how long did that progressively go on for?
I got in recovery when I was 25.
Okay.
So, yeah, I mean, my parents divorced. That's what sent me over the edge.
Yeah.
We moved here. I was 11 when we moved here, and I hated my mother from that moment on. And everything was her fault. So that was where my resentment started. I love my dad. My dad was the greatest thing, you know, going at that time. And my dad, just died last year, July 18th, with a crack pipe, or no, crystal meth pipe. Right there, he didn't have good health, but he used, but I didn't accept for a long time I didn't accept or know a lot about what was going on with my dad until I got more mature in my recovery, and I was able to see things so my mom is the one that roared and got it all, essentially.
Right. And how long ago did your father pass away?
July 18th.
I'm sorry.
Last year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's fresh.
Yep,
Yeah.
it is fresh. But going back to me, I, you know, in my recovery and still to this day, what, you know, some people call it the stinking thinking. I've called it stinking thinking. But for me, it's always my spiritualness. I can become blind in any incident if my children are hurt. Like, I can go right back to the moment where there was a lot of years around here I thought I had sociopathic tendencies. I was like, I don't know.
Just emotionally
Feel
blocked.
nothing.
Yeah.
People are crying around me. I'm not getting it. That was really weird. I didn't think people were funny. I'd be sitting out there and there'd be groups of women laughing, and I'm like, that was stupid. So it took a lot for my heart to open up.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, at 11, I think, so I was in Maryvale. My mom put me in the psych unit at one time to get me into Maryvale. I absolutely convinced the staff there was nothing wrong with me, and it was my mom.
Isn't it weird how at a young age we're able to do that?
Yeah, it's very scary. I was a con already. Yeah, very much so.
I used to do that throughout childhood as well with counselors, therapists. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I wanted to do what I wanted to do, and I would do anything and say anything at all costs.
That's right. And it's so profound how I can go back to the memories of being able to see what they're saying and the questions in relativity, and being able to like navigate my way through the answers in order to get what I wanted anyway. Like, how am I that smart as a child that doesn't even know, like, you know, all of this elaborate language? Or it's like basically reading body language and telltale signs and then being able to manipulate it. I can go right back to the memories of how I did it. You know, it's like what you're asking me, and then I can take the relative memories of my life with my parents or whatever the struggles that they're questioning me about, and I could manipulate my way through the answers. It's crazy how much of a liar I was. Yeah. Truth. It's weird. I can relate a lot to that.
Yeah, and then I had my arm swelled up when I was young too, so I actually did have a bout while in the hospital. They cut me off the morphine and everything that I had. I have a scar from here to here. They don't know what happened. They treated me like the flesh-eating disease. So, like, my addiction was live and well, very young. I smoked a joint with my other abuser, a family member, at 12, gave me a joint and gave me my first hit of speed.
Oh my.
And then the thing with, there was a lot with men. You know, I left my mom's home. I stayed with a 55-year-old. My friend was 5 years older than me, his child, and he sexually molested me for 3 years at night, right? And I thought he was my friend. It took a long time for that in my recovery to see. Probably because God can only give you what you can handle, and I would have went nuts and I would have stayed using. So that was very difficult for me to see that I was very taken advantage of it. It was the moment that the doors opened up to see how many times I thought people were my friends, but meanwhile
they're using you for one thing.
That's exactly what it was. Because I had an image of I was very egotistical, and I had this image in my mind. And what I was going to say is, at 13, I wanted to be a drug dealer. I wanted to be like my older brother. I really loved his friends. I loved the chaos. I had so much peace in my home. It was like, this is fun, and this is a party, and this is what I want to do. And I did it. I started my older brother on cocaine, you know, and a lot of people might not know that, considering who he was in the city at one time.
Right.
Who he was in the city when you know, we were teenagers. And then I ended up leaving that 55-year-old's house and moving in with a 36-year-old, and I was just turning 15.
Oh my.
And it was 38 when we parted ways, and we parted ways because I got pregnant, and I thought 2 years later, I thought I would never let my daughter be with somebody this old, like ever, would I ever. So that went off pretty nuts. There was a lot of stuff, you know. I was the kind of a person that unfortunately, how do I say it? I could be very evil. Anyway, that's the best way I'm going to say it. So, and it just progressively just kept getting worse.
Right.
You know, I ended up across Canada. I ended up, I think I was 19 maybe, or 20 in Vancouver. On East Hastings in Maine.
Very dangerous.
And I was with somebody, a partner, and then we ended up in Toronto at Sherbourne and Shooter. So that's Sherbourne and Dundas. So it's in between Dundas and Queen, and that's very rough area. I could not be out at night, a white person,
alone.
As soon as it got dark. No. No way. I tried it. I'm lucky. God left me unscathed.
Right.
I got robbed, but God left me unscathed in many different other areas. And so then it just got crazy. We broke up. That relationship broke up, which was definitely for the better. And I went wild. So I was just wild. I did a lot of things that I would never say on air just because I have my kids. I've already said too much.
And that's between 18 and 25, finding recovery, right?
Yeah. So, and the only reason why I came into recovery is I got pregnant, and I wanted to abort my baby. I didn't. I missed. The truth is of that part of my journey is I still used like I used every day, all day long, till I fell over. and slept for days. I went for days, lots of days, probably five or 6 days at a time. And I missed the appointment, thank God. And I called CAS on myself. So it was like some of my conscience started to come
Kicking
back
in.
with another life in me. And even though, like, when I called CAS, I'm like, I don't want this baby.
Yeah.
So you're gonna have to come get this baby. And then I had my son Emmanuel, and he was just perfect. Had this beautiful little perfect shaped head, and I vowed from that moment on I was going to be his mother.
Yep.
It took me 4 years to learn how to love him and how to be a mother, because that's when I started my recovery.
Right.
And my morals and values were so construed that I had to learn a lot. You know, my parents did. They had good morals. They had good values. I was taught that, but I just totally went into this street mode where hear no evil, see no evil, speak no evil.
Right.
And I lived by code.
Right.
Like, I lived by that code. And you know what? It's funny, in a sense, still, I do. There's still some of that there. And that's what I mean by the spiritual blindness that I can get into, right? That, and also I help people on their level. So I love being an alumni. I love being able to work in this field.
I was just going to say that after all of this, it's like you have the perfect blend to be a natural counselor, and you went to school and you did these things. So yeah, there's a lot to be proud of today, right?
Yeah, and I challenge everything.
Yeah.
I'm one of those people that challenges systems. I'll always challenge systems. But how can I say it? So I got in recovery, and it was tough. I didn't do well the first 2 years. I did what I wanted, which didn't get me anywhere. It really didn't get me anywhere.
Oh, we can all relate to some extent.
But it was a part of my journey, and what ended up happening because of all of, and I didn't use this language 19 years ago.
Right.
But all of the trauma that I had, it takes me a lot longer to really trust somebody. And
100%.
it still does today. So I was in my 5th year getting up and celebrating, and it was in that moment that I'm like, Brentwood's my family, and I was like, oh my God, Brentwood's my family.
You had this shocking revelation.
Yeah, like it is. It finally caught up. And a lot of that was just lack of trust. So I'm grateful that I had the group leader that I had, and a couple of alumni that I aspired to be like. After I got my head out of my ass with judging them and, you know, like all the different stuff early on in recovery, the coping mechanisms that I used to keep people away from me.
Right.
Like, I had to really stop that. That's why I say it takes a few years in recovery.
That's
and then you're on your own, so you're on your own journey
That's right.
from there.
And you find too, like, I don't know if you had this realization, but I did just recently, that nobody is coming to help me unless I'm honest about it. Like, people will help me if I'm, you know, courageous enough to open up about it, or to talk to somebody that I, you know, trust, right? And
Should I say anything about my issue? Okay, yes, go ahead.
okay, I'm like, oh, what is this issue?
Yeah.
Right. So I had this realization that, you know, I can be proud of the steps that I've taken because nobody is making me take them. You know what I mean? Nobody's there to help me. I don't know if you guys can relate to that, but a lot of that, my first year of recovery was, why didn't this person see this, or how come this person won't help me through that, or why didn't you say anything when this happened, or blah blah blah, always creating these excuses or justifications as to why I went through what I went through alone.
But that's what we hear, though, too, right? So we hear that someone's always going to be there, and we're promised that.
Right.
We are. You were on program, you were on program. That people are like, and I really believed in that the second time that I went through. But I will tell you, in my life, I have definitely learned throughout being here for as long as I've been here that there are times where a person cannot
Be there. Right.
no people, they don't be there, but the person that needs the help doesn't know how to ask for the help.
That's right.
For me, I knew I needed help. I was trying, and I was saying that I needed help, and it was falling on deaf ears.
Right.
I don't know why.
Yeah.
So what I mean by this, and what I hope, you know, I'm going to talk a little bit about what my hope is for the new people that are in recovery, because there's a lot of us.
Yeah.
And it's not just Brentwood that works for everybody, and that's fine and that's great. So for anybody listening, if you say you're going to commit to something, you got to commit to it.
That's right.
So if you're going to be the one that says, I'm going in a group that I'm, you know, I am that alumni that makes sure that I'm there when somebody messages, make sure it's not the one that you pick or choose to do it.
Right, just
You've gotta
be available.
do it.
Be available.
You
Yeah.
have to do it. And I hope that moving forward,
Yeah.
that's what we can come into a change. Everybody, whether it's the Phoenix program, it's a wonderful program here in Windsor, the House of Soccer Scene,
Yeah.
amazing people work at House of Soccer Scene. You know, Chris Teber's the director at the Phoenix
Group.
program, Sonia Watson, an amazing person. I don't know all of her staff. There's, you know, different programs at the Salvation Army. I'm sure there's so much that I don't even know. Positive Pathways.
Yeah, Windsor has a huge recovery community.
It's absolutely beautiful, but any one person listening that is trying to get better,
Yeah.
show up for people.
Yeah, I was just talking to
Show
somebody
up for
about
people.
how many programs there are in Windsor. Like, you know, the Hand in Hand. You have Launchpad. You got Phoenix Group. You have House of Sophrosine, Hiatus House. You have House of Hope. You have
Oh, there
Westover.
you go. So
Yeah, you have
really great
Brentwood. Like, I'm at 9 already, and I'm sure I've missed a few, right? And that's just going off the top of my head. Like, in reality, I did a 30-day program prior to coming to Brentwood, and it worked. Like, for a sense of giving me an idea of what to look at, but I had no idea about putting groundwork in. I had no idea about how having to like do a daily routine and then being held accountable, making commitments, and like having people in my life that are recovery based. Because I was on house arrest, I went right back to house arrest after the 30-day program. So the whole communication, like, I felt really amazing in the 30 days of making friendships, and then cut right off. So I waited another 3.5 months miraculously to get from Sault Ste. Marie to Brentwood, right? So for me, I'm just surprised that the one time in my life I didn't breach my conditions, because I usually was a runner, right? So I had this whole little short story planned in my future, from runner to redemption, and then like making that part of my life story, right? But it's, I'm just grateful that I made it here, because then I started learning these things here, right? And the alumni are the reasons why I got to learn these things. People that are coming back, as an example, within the 24 hours that you graduated, right? I always wondered, like, why can't we do that? You know, when I was at other programs, you have to get a pass, you got to like go in, get approval, you might be able to talk for an hour, and then you got to leave. You're not coming back the next day and the day after that, right? Which I think is one of the most beautiful things about Brentwood, is our aftercare. You know, and then the Phoenix Group now does that. There's a couple other places like Westover, they have a Tuesday meeting for alumni.
Every organization wants that. So if you talk to a frontline worker, that's what they'll say.
Right, examples, yeah.
Yeah, and I've many treatment centers that Brentwood has toured. I wasn't on those tours. The higher ups really loved that Brentwood was able to incorporate the alumni in that. I've heard that so many different times from so many different workers.
I know, I heard at other programs the privacy is the reason why they don't allow people coming back in, but I think it's like the opposite cause and effect, right? Like, by not allowing people to come back in, we're not seeing on a daily basis that it works for somebody, right? I don't know, you're absolutely right.
Yeah, okay. We'll go okay to privacy.
Yeah. I don't know. That's what I was told.
Oh, no, absolutely. Sometimes we can take things over the top, but I do understand it's coming. It's very important in today's language with people.
Yes. So, do you want to share a bit about going back to school when that happened, and what made you have inspiration to be a counselor?
I wanted to go work in Vancouver, actually. So I had talked to my mom. I was single at the time. I talked to my mom. I have my son Emmanuel, and I came in and I seen Don Russell. Dan Sawyer was working as helping out with the women's relapse group. I think the men's relapse group. So it's going back some years.
And how old were you then?
I was 25.
Okay.
No, 27 when I started to go.
So a couple of years into your recovery.
Into my recovery.
Okay.
Yeah, and that was what I said. I want to go to Vancouver. It's like in such despair. That's where I want to go. And I think that's why I still love, like, I'm a very frontline person. Like, harm reduction to me isn't just about drug replacement therapies.
Yeah.
It's about meeting the people where they're at.
Conversations.
It is. It's like, if you need my shoes right now, I got shoes at home, that's what I'm gonna do.
Yeah,
I don't need to get into anything else other than you need a pair of shoes
that's right.
or socks or whatever it is.
Yeah.
So, what was the question?
The question was,
Oh,
When
school.
did you go back
What-
to school?
Yeah,
Yeah,
what-
27. Oh, yeah, that's how it started. And then I thought maybe I'll be a lawyer. So it was that. And then it was because I think I could do law too. It's like working with people in their disease.
Yeah.
My dad always wanted me to be a lawyer. And then I talked with Dan Sawyer, who practiced law, and he said, no, don't. It's not that kind of working with people, what you're looking for. So,
yeah.
because of people don't want to change. Really.
Did you end up going to Vancouver?
No,
So-
I ended up getting hired here.
Right, that's what I mean. So you got inspired in a different way to stay at your home, place of family, let's say, and help the people here.
Yeah, I started in university,
Yeah.
then I got hired here. It was part-time. Tracy Bruner got very sick.
Mm-hmm.
She came back, which was great. And there was another alumni that I was working with at the time. Don Russell wanted to let me go. He didn't want to keep me on in intake, and she actually went. So this just talks about the different kinds of people that we have here and who I learned from and
Right.
who I aspired to be. She told me this years later, not during it. She went to Don Russell and said, you can pay me part-time hours. I'd like to keep her on.
Oh, cool.
They could, and then for years they didn't have a spot for me because there was only the 2 intake offices. So like I was balanced to a lot of different offices and spaces.
Well, that's kind of cool how
Yeah.
somebody was like there for you in that time, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, that's really cool.
yeah.
Yeah. I find that, man, there's a lot of people that do things like that all around here. Like for work for myself, when I first graduated, you know, I had Wayne Rakowskis, Wayne Schreiner, him bringing me on to roofs. Like, I'm scared of heights, right? But I had an alumni, like, you have no money, your daughter's birthday's coming, like, you can come work with me for the weekend, right? And it's like little things like that where people go above and beyond to, like, pull you out of whatever you're going through and put you into a place where things are accomplishable, right? I find that really cool.
But at my deepest and lowest point this last year, I felt very left out and alone.
I'm sorry you felt that way.
Yeah. Well, it happened.
Yeah.
So it wasn't just a feeling, it actually.
No, and it did happen, and I shared with her. I knew that she was going through that, but I didn't have the emotional capacity at the time because I had other friends, like, and I did share that, and I apologized for not being able to be there because I was spread so thin,
She was.
and because like I had a friend that was going through, like, I slept on the couch at her front door because we were worried somebody was going to come in and, like,
Yeah, there's a lot going on.
and but I knew, like, I knew that she was hurting, but I apologized afterwards for that I just,
How painful is that too, right? Knowing
it was very
somebody-
painful.
Yeah.
It was very painful because it's like you have friends that are hurting and you want to help them, but at the time, like, I have the amount of things that I have going on in one day is a lot.
Yeah.
Like, I have a daughter that's really struggling right now.
How old's your daughter?
She's 14.
Yeah, she's at that age. Yeah.
And so it's like she has epilepsy and she has body dysmorphia and a bunch of other things that I'm not going to share because it's her journey, but I know that when I can call her and say I need her and she'd be there. And the same thing that if she called, like, and she has called me and I've been there and, like, yeah, pick me up, it's
Right.
okay, like. And that's the friendships that you need to keep at,
Right.
and, like, and be able to be open and vulnerable and saying, like, I'm sorry that I wasn't able to be there.
Yeah.
And I think that a lot of times alumni, we go into fear.
Well, you know what? It's easy to be there for people when times are good. That's
100%.
I tell people this all the time
Yeah.
too, but, like, you know, when I'm telling you my deepest emotions for whatever I'm going through in the day, and your response is I'll call you later or whatever, or not even to be around in my life, like, It's all nice and fine when you're there for my celebrations, or you're there for me during moments of prosperity, like when I get a job or when things are going good. But as soon as the shit hits the fan, so to speak, right? Pardon my French, but like that's when I need people the most, and how to feel alone in that moment. I'm just happy for whatever knowledge I've gained throughout my sobriety, because there is moments like that, but where I've said some things to the caregiver of my daughter and I shouldn't have said them, but then it neglected my daughter because she finds out about it, she hears about it, and then we didn't talk for 9 months. You know, if I didn't have people there for me through these times, but the people that I thought would be there weren't necessarily those people. I had to search and keep coming here to like find other supports, so to speak, because, you know, I was let down in moments like that too, right?
Yeah, that's why I said that comment about people that are in recovery, and there's so much need out there today that is honestly just what everybody needs, whether you're just coming in the door or whether, you know, life happens on life's terms. I was always taught that here.
That is no concept.
Don't stop.
There's no concept on time for that matter, right?
No.
Right.
Yeah, so I don't want to sound like a big baby, but it is an issue. It's almost like I want to be the voice for those people that can't, that feel left out, that because they maybe just started, they're not getting as much recognition from, you know, somebody who's been in and out of recovery like a few times, eh? So
that's why I always tell the newcomer, recover out loud. Like, do that for yourself. Yeah, be the loudest person in the room. It helped me, but, you know, with some barriers. Yeah, there's a lot of times I thought I should have been kicked out and probably whatever, right?
Yeah, in death. Like, so this was a learning, like what I just went through is a really big learning for me, and how I need to support people too.
Right. Not only...
Like, wait a minute, hang on a minute, somebody, because now that I've
good for you. You can look through it in a mirror reflection.
Yeah, it's like I'm definitely going to make sure that I'm answering those phone calls.
More supportive,
you know.
Yeah, not only is it I needed help, but I can practice what I'm preaching as well. Yeah, no, that's a good outlook on it.
Father Paul used to say there's givers and there's takers in recovery, and there's way more takers than givers.
100%.
So if I can reach anybody, just give.
But you never know how we've had realizations. It's probably similar in that fashion too. You can only take so much before you realize something throughout your life that you need to start giving back.
You'd hope.
Yeah, you'd hope, right? And that's where I never let go of it, 100%. I can only hold on to some hope that through recovery, people are going to get what I've gotten by me giving it away. And that's kind of what they mean, you know, never stop giving it away, because I received something. I'm greedy in my recovery, 100%. I want to keep feeling good, so I don't say no. I show up if somebody needs help with the chairs or an event, or like just today, somebody bumped into somebody, he's drinking his coffee, smashed the coffee, it went on the floor, both people look at each other, they separate through the hallway. I'm thinking like, yeah, okay, you're holding the coffee, you ran around the corner, bumped into the guy and spilt the coffee, no responsibility, and off you guys go. Who do you think picked up the paper towels and did the thing? It's just like, oh my God, without the lecture. Before, it would have been my self-righteous, you know, personality to be like, hey, wait a minute, you did, and then coach them as to why I'm wiping the floor up, right? And just, I'm like, whatever.
The second thing a lot of people struggle with is they've got to be acknowledged for doing it.
For doing the right thing.
So that's what I'm working on. It's like, I don't need acknowledgement for who I help. But I just want people to be able to experience what I do experience from how much I give. Can I give to everybody?
No.
Realistically, I can't. I completely understand.
And that's where healthy boundaries come in.
Yeah.
And it took me a long time. It also took me, like, looking back at...
How long have you been sober, Aubrey?
It'll be 7 years.
Oh, congratulations.
In August. But, like, my dad, he knew when he went on program that this was it. Like, he had to stay sober because my mom wasn't going to give him any more chances. That was it. And he would lose. And so from that day that he, like, went on program, he made my sister and I and my mom his top priority.
Yep.
As well as his sobriety. Like, we knew, like, my sister and I knew on Wednesday nights he went to a meeting every Wednesday night, no matter what.
Yep.
And Saturdays he would go to grad, and that Friday nights I think he used to work the duty desk.
Right.
But I knew that if I needed him, I could call the duty desk and say, like, hey, Dad, like, can you call me back when you have a minute so that we can talk? And he would do that. Like, and I just knew from the way that my dad he kept giving back, and he would help whoever he needed to help. Like, I remember when Dan Martin was going to school, he was at our house and my dad would help him because my dad was over the top smart, like he was very intelligent, and he would help others because school came really
Who's your
easy.
dad?
Dan MacDougall.
Okay.
But he passed away in 2008.
Okay. I was gonna say I don't
Good
remember.
man.
Yeah,
Okay.
and I knew that when I went into recovery that I wanted to be like my dad.
Yep.
I wanted to be someone that people could trust and somebody that if they ask me to do something, I'm there and I'll do it.
Yep.
Because that was something that that I didn't have in my dad before he went in recovery, but afterwards I knew.
So you got to experience both sides of the coin.
Yeah, with my mom and my dad, even with my stepdad, like I've witnessed him go through what he went through here at Brentwood, and him coming and him needing somewhere outside of Brentwood, and then coming back to work here, and just seeing the being humble, right? Being humble and letting the ego at the door, and just realizing that we have so much to give.
Right.
If we're open to it and if we're vulnerable. And that's the biggest thing, is being vulnerable with yourself. Like when I'm helping, like my best friend that I helped over the summer, like I got really vulnerable and told her things that I didn't think I would ever tell her.
Right.
Because
you're naturally spending time with each other. It's almost...
Well, yeah, we had, we both will say it was, last year was one of the worst years of our lives, but we had the best summer of our lives.
Right.
Like we spent a lot of time, we went all over Ontario.
Yeah.
Chasing waterfalls, taking pictures, making memories.
Literally.
Yeah, literally. And
That's so cool.
we know that summer will never be recreated.
Right.
But there was a bond that we made that this past summer that won't be able to be broken.
Yeah.
And we want to give it back to other people. And we have, I brought in an alumni from here into her house so that she's able to experience it. And she tells me now, she's like, I've never felt loved before by anybody.
Aw.
She's like, I come in you guys make me feel loved and you make me feel special. And she's like, I never had that. And we make her kids feel special.
Yeah.
And her kids have never felt that because her kids were never, like her friends that she had before recovery didn't really care about her kids.
Right.
But now
the chain reaction.
Yeah. And just allowing her to see that has helped her a lot, so that she's able to give that in return. And I think that's what is needed, is that we all just want that connection, and we want to be loved and loved unconditionally.
So before you came in the program 7 years ago, did you said that you came from a place where recovery was prominent in your home, right? Mm-hmm. Would you say that feeling was there of feeling loved and important and valued, and then coming into program, how did that develop for you?
So it was with my dad.
Yeah.
And I'm not, my mom and I have talked about this. It's not anything that she would get hurt about. But for whatever reason, I had a block with my mom.
Okay.
And I know, so my dad passed away. I was 27 and I was pregnant with my second born. I was in a relationship that was very toxic, that probably never would have lasted if my dad wasn't dying. Because I probably wouldn't have gotten pregnant either. But it happened, and that, my son, who's going to be 17, he was born on my dad's birthday. So I was pregnant with him when my dad passed away, and I had him on my dad's birthday.
Right.
And it was a spiritual thing that happened that birth. But then it was that relationship broke up, and it was a bunch of little things that closed me up, because I wasn't closed as a child.
Right.
I was very open. I was very I was raised in Brentwood. I went to church, and I got into a series of relationships because I didn't have the self-esteem. Even though I was loved, I didn't have the self-esteem to think that I deserved better.
What do they call that? Being somewhat dependent on another person's validation or opinion, in a sense, is kind of what I'm hearing.
Codependency?
Yeah, that's what.
Well, I don't think it's but I think it was more because even in all those relationships, I was the one. I did everything.
Right.
I worked and I paid all the it was not thinking that I was good enough.
Right.
And I was in certain ways emotionally neglected at times growing up because of my sister and my sister just was needier than I was. I was more independent. I had books and I had a bunch of other things that I was able to do, and I didn't need to be reminded to do my homework. I didn't need to for anything. I was just, as my grandma would say, I was born an old lady. Like that was just who I was.
So it's kind of easier for your parents to not worry about you as much.
But I had all kinds of things going on, and I didn't have any outlet to communicate that.
Right.
Not because I didn't feel comfortable enough, it's just I didn't know how to. Like I just
basically floating under the radar in a sense because you're doing okay with school. You're not so much as a troubled
I got
child.
into university.
Right.
I worked full time. The worst thing I did was get pregnant while I was in university, but I still finished.
Yeah.
My son's now 22. I'm not doing what I went to school for, but I just shut down emotionally and spiritually and didn't want to. I don't want anybody to know what was going on, and it wasn't even like there was anything bad, like really.
You're just not communicating.
I was not communicating with anybody, and there was a fire at my house, and my house was destroyed because I wasn't living there, and there was dogs basically that had destroyed the house.
Yeah.
And CAS was called, and it was like they're like, okay, clean the house and go back, but there was a whole bunch of other issues that happened before that I had to sign my kids away before I went on program. So I called, my mom was like, okay, well, I will only take your kids if you go on program. And I called Brentwood on Wednesday, signed my kids away at lunchtime on Friday, and was on program Friday, right after I signed my kids away.
Wow.
Yeah. So I was very, very angry.
Yeah.
But I still, like, even now, I still don't know how to deal with that, like, with any type of anger, because I always pushed it down, because I thought that if I was this perfect kid, even though my parents never ever even had any type of relapse, neither one of them did, that I thought they would relapse. So it was like I lived my life like that.
Yeah, so you had to put on a persona.
Perfectionism and the masking like who I was, because I was always a little bit left of center. I wasn't like everybody else. But that was also from my parents, because they gave me that freedom to be who I wanted to be. And I was on program, and like the first week, I had a meeting with my group leader at the time, Charmaine. She was working in, Tracy was off at the time, so she was working.
She just part-time a few months ago? Charmaine? Yeah.
I'm not sure.
I don't remember.
So Charmaine was my group leader. I had a meeting with Charmaine and Joan and my mom and somebody, like a bunch, like there was like, to tell them that they went into my house and threw out everything, and it was traumatic at the time, and I was very angry, but it was like I needed to be on program to work through a lot of things. And it was like a blessing in disguise.
Yeah.
Like
we don't see it as that though when it happens. Yeah.
No, but I know that if I had kept going the way I was going, there still probably wouldn't have been substance, but I would have like been okay with my kids being gone.
Yeah.
And
self-destructive.
Yes, very self-destructive, and very like to my body, to everybody around me. Like I would just isolate, and
spiritually that's got to feel like prison.
Oh, it was very much so.
Yeah, 100%.
And then there was like the jealousy, because my mom and sister always have had a close relationship. Yeah. But I've changed that, and my mom and I do have a close relationship.
And becoming okay with who you are today.
Oh yeah. And becoming okay with the fact that I'm not the typical anything.
Right.
And it's okay.
So that's the same thing. Like my dad raised me my whole life, right? And my mother had children with other fathers, and I used to say negative things and feel negative towards her. But for decades, it was me and my dad and my older brother, right? And then my half siblings I would visit periodically throughout time. But I just 3 years ago, my mother helped me prior to coming here. I was on house arrest, and that kind of broke this barrier between us, I think, and allowed me to start like letting go of that hatred for the decisions she made, regardless of why or how or right. Mm-hmm. And minus all the details of why she made her choices, she was never a drug addict. She didn't drink, and she was just the way she was, but always dated addicts for some reason, right? Always had men with emotional issues and whatever. So it wasn't for me to hold on to anymore after learning some stuff here, right? Mm-hmm. Like I had to come to terms with that, or I was going to be I don't know, it was going to be my downfall, I guess, in a way. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I had a conversation with her, I think it was about 6 or 9 months in. I was living in THU, and so I'm in the transitional housing unit, and I remember Paul Kristolovich says, you need to call her, and you need to forgive her. And I'm like, I don't know how to do that. He's like, just say the words, it'll come naturally afterwards. You have to say it to her. You have to allow her to be who she is. And it's already over. Like, what are you going to do about it? And I remember him saying that to me in his office. Like, what exactly are you going to do about your history? Like, it's way gone. It's gone. Like, there's nothing you can change. And I was like, wow. I'm like, isn't that some divine intervention, right? I was thinking in my head, like, that's what you got for me. But at the end of the day, he was absolutely right.
And that, like, for me, like, my sister and I, we have a love-hate relationship. Yeah. And recently for me, what happened was she was diagnosed with bone cancer, and she was given 5 to 10 years to live. And in my brain, it was like, nothing matters. None of that, the resentments, nothing. That doesn't matter. Exactly. What matters is spending time with her, yeah, and laughing about the goofiest things, and just being there for each other.
The here and the now.
Yeah. And it's easy. Like, it's just like the accepting of just where she's at, mm-hmm, right? And through that, it's allowed me to accept other people for where they're at.
So do you think, okay, let's go back to, the house, the dogs, the kids. Let's say all that happened at this point in time, like the mental capacity to be able to be there for your sister wouldn't have existed.
Probably not.
No, right? So it's like everything happens in sequence for a reason.
Oh, yeah, no, yeah. And it's true. And like, we've worked through a lot of things, mm-hmm, and my sister... And also just realizing that my sister and I are like, we are the same person, mm-hmm, essentially, but we just have a different delivery.
Yeah. Yeah. And
we both have these huge hearts and the capacity to forgive, because, mm-hmm, we've both have been able to forgive each other, forgive others, and just keep giving. Yeah. When we can.
It's crazy. As you're talking, I'm hearing fear, acceptance, mm-hmm, fear, acceptance. It's kind of like really cool, because it reminds me of my sister too. Like, my sister moved out at a very young age. Had a lot of, she's the only girl in the family with 5 boys, right? And they're all half siblings. So having to leave her home with my mom and move in with her friends in high school. And then, always been self-supportive. She's like never really had addiction issues. She's been working since that age, and like paying her rent and doing things. And now she's in Hamilton. She's running like this business that's like, they've asked her to move to different locations across Canada and like help out and like to like regrow certain places and different locations. Couldn't be more proud of her. But our relationship kind of like halted when she had to go through these things as a teenager. There was a huge gap in the way that I was living, and wouldn't allow me to be a part of her life. And there was a distance there, even though like we were probably the closest out of all of our siblings in one form or another, right? Mm-hmm. When it comes to, sister and brother. But now it's like we have these amazing conversations, and I'm able to, be there for her, and she's able to be there for me. So it's kind of cool. That's what was going through my mind as you were talking.
And it's also been good for me as a teaching tool for my own kids, because I do have 4 kids.
Right.
And
what age range?
So my oldest is 22,
mm-hmm,
and then my 3 younger ones, they were all born pretty quickly. Like, they're 17. Like, he turned 17 at the end of the week, and then my younger 2 are 14 and 12.
Okay.
And so it was my son and I for the longest time.
Right.
And then they came really quick together, and like, I like my son, when I came on program,
Yeah.
hated me. He absolutely hated
The
me.
oldest?
Yeah, the oldest one, because he was the one that saw it all.
Right.
And just recently, we've had a conversation about it, and like, he's able now to come to me with things that I'm just flabbergasted with his openness and the ability that he has to come and just say, "Mom, I need help."
And how many years did that take? Like, what's the time frame on the I don't want to talk to you, Mom, to the point you're at now?
Well, so when I first graduated, I moved in with my mom and my stepdad.
Yeah.
And that was 5 months. That was the hardest 5 months of my entire life.
Okay.
And that's where I grew the most, probably, really. And it was once we were able to move back into where we live now that him and I were able to just have conversations, just him and I, where like the girls would be sleeping. And because my youngest son moved in with his dad while I was on program and has remained living with his dad. He comes on the weekends now.
Okay.
So it was like once my son, my oldest, Keegan, and I were able to have quiet time, just him and I, we were able to repair a lot of things.
Yeah.
The first time he came to me and he wanted to just like dump on me all these bad things, I reacted on him.
Yeah.
And then I called my accountability, and I kept calling people, and I was like, I realized that I can't react on him.
Yeah, you gotta let
I
him.
knew I was wrong, and so from then on, I just let him, and I acknowledged the things that I did, and I said, yeah, I did that. I can't say that I'll never do it again because I don't know.
Right. We're only human.
But I'm going to do my best not to.
That's right.
And it was just letting him see that I was putting in the work.
Right.
And letting him see that I was there.
Right.
I was there for him when he needed, whenever. And I think like his dad passed away 4 years ago from his own addiction. Like it was an accidental carbon monoxide poisoning at the side of the road, and it was really hard on him. He was 16. And he's had a lot of death in his family, for him. Like by 16, he lost his grandfather, his great grandfather, and then his dad.
Right.
And so he has a mistrust in men. Like he doesn't want to get close to anybody because he's scared they're going to die.
Right.
So it was just letting him cry, letting him feel those big feelings.
Yeah.
And I remember the time he came downstairs and he started crying, and my youngest, they're 10 years apart, between my youngest and my oldest, she sat in his lap and she was rubbing his back, and she's like, "It's okay, Keegan, we're going to pray for his soul."
Aw.
And I looked at her and I said, "Where did you learn that from?" And she's like, "From you, Mom, and from Brentwood."
Isn't that cool?
And I was like, whoa. I'm like, okay, I'm doing the right thing. And that's what I like, and I've shared that before with other women, to say like, you'll know when your kids feel it.
That's right.
And that's what you need to like, that it's like that thing that keeps you going, right?
That's right, little motivational factors, Things pop out as signs, telltales, It's amazing, actually, to hear something like that, because, I don't know, I have moments with my daughters that are, I don't know, they're scary for me, because I don't yet know how to be fully available all the time. Mm-hmm. So, I don't know, man, like my daughter's going through some stuff right now, my oldest, and she made some kind of questionable choices, and when I'm explaining to her that it was disappointing to hear that, what she was doing, it's like it was turned back as, oh, you know, you're calling me a disappointment, and I can see myself in it, right? And I'm like, that's not at all what I'm saying, but I hear you, but no. When you do things that are disappointing, I'm allowed to express my feelings towards such matters. I'm explaining to her, right? I'm like, so yeah, you did something, and I'm feeling of sorts. So I'm going to tell you.
It's the behavior that's disappointing.
That's right, not the person, 100%. So I'm having a hard time, I don't know, like emotionally explaining it to her. Like I kind of just want to be her friend, which isn't right. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? So there's a lot of moments where I'm proud of my daughter, you know? And then there's moments where she's doing things that I would have done as a teenager that aren't so great. And there's like this part of me that's inside that still wants to be proud of her. Like, oh yeah, there you go. Like this like evil part of me, where I'm just like, yeah, good for you, kid. Like I did those things. And I want to trauma bond with her or something, or start talking about these things like we're buddies, and it's not healthy, right? And I can feel it like pulling me towards that easier conversation, because it's way easier to say, oh yeah, you know, and like shoot the shit with your kid. It's not healthy and it's not right. So then I have to like put myself in check. Or otherwise, hang up on her and call other people to find out how I'm supposed to do it, which would be totally ignorant, right? Like, hold on a second, you're saying some stuff that just doesn't make sense right now. I'm going to have to call you back in 20. Like, I don't think that's right. So,
I have shared that with my son.
Right.
I said, I don't know what to do right now.
Right.
And I don't want to say the wrong thing. Can I come back?
Oh, that's the problem. I'm so scared of admitting that.
Oh, but you know what? He
But
has.
that's your lack of faith, right?
Right,
To
right.
not accept.
Yeah.
Ask your partner. She'll tell you.
Yeah. So the thing is, me and my partner aren't partners anymore.
Oh,
Yeah.
well then ask. Find some different groups of mothers
Yeah.
and groups of women in recovery
Yeah.
that had similar situations, and ask them, what is it that you needed?
Right.
And then you know your daughter, and you take whatever you gather and you
apply
feel
it.
is happening with your daughter, because you're the one that's directly having the conversation. It's hard to give if you're not the one having the conversation.
Right.
You know, Father Paul was insightful. He was special. We're never going to run into that person again.
Right.
How he was able to give direction to
100%.
people. So that'll be very helpful for you. Ask around in women's groups.
I think a lot of myself is like that chink in the armor. You know, like I don't want to show the wound or the cut.
And you know, for me,
I want to be a man.
I trusted my dad more than my mom.
Yeah.
For the longest time, because my dad showed all his emotions. He wore his heart on his sleeve.
Yeah.
When he was upset, he would cry. When he was angry, he would get angry. Like, whereas my mom, I never really saw her cry until my dad passed away, and then it was like a dam broke.
And that's the thing too. Like with my daughter, her mom passed away in 2019 from an overdose, right? So like, I feel like I need to do the most responsible thing and try and be that rock, which I know it's the wrong way of thinking about it, right?
No, you can still be that rock, but you still need to be human.
Vulnerable too,
yeah, you
right?
need, and that's the thing that opened for me and my own kids. Like
This is cool. They're telling their stories, and I'm getting advice, and I love it.
like I have a son, and my youngest son is trans, and that was we went through that whole each time he came out, like there was multiple things, and how I had to deal with family and how they reacted to it, and even like explaining to my son that not everybody's going to understand,
right.
And that's okay. That's where that person's at, but you need to be confident in who you are
and being able to express yourself.
Yes.
Yep.
And the same thing I say to my daughter that's struggling. You know your truth.
That's right.
What that person's saying about you or that person, it doesn't matter.
That's not your truth. Yeah.
And it's hard because she's at that, like, she wants to be accepted and she wants to be liked. And I said, the hardest part is to go about your life not being liked.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where you'll find who you really are.
100%.
And that's the thing is that I want to give my kids that freedom to be who they are.
And they can't. You have to let them find it.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
it's the hardest part.
and there's been times where I'm like, oh my God, Keegan, don't tell me this. I don't want to know. And there's been times where, like, when he turned 18, I knew he was going to drink with his friends, and I let them all know.
Yeah.
Come home.
That's it.
Come, and so it was 10 o'clock, and he was already wasted.
Yeah.
And they brought him home, and they put him on the couch, and my mom's like, I can't believe, and I'm like, I would rather him be
not
there,
be out there in the
than
world. Yeah.
wherever. And like there was other things that have happened. Like he went downtown once and he drank, and there was a video posted of a fight that he got into on Windsor Car Spotters.
Yeah.
And it was like, I was devastated.
Of course.
Absolutely devastated. And we had talks about it where his dad was an alcoholic and he was a very angry, mean alcoholic. And I said, Keegan, I saw it. I saw that anger in that video.
Of course.
And I said, I don't want that for you. And he has decided that he doesn't go downtown.
Right.
And he made that decision. He's like, I don't ever want to feel
All
that
in perspective, right?
And it's just being open and allowing your kids to make mistakes, because they're going to make mistakes.
That's right.
We
We're
make
all
mistakes.
people.
Right.
Yeah.
And there is fear in that, because there's sometimes there's
I think a lot of it is not recreating burdens to hold. Like, if I don't allow my daughter to express herself or become who she's becoming, then I'm going to feel that guilt, right? I'm going to shut her down. I'm going to make her feel a certain type of way about a certain type of thing.
But who are you making it about?
Right. Then I'm making it about me, 100%. And that's what, like, when...
That's the biggest gift that you can find, is if you can catch that. You're not going to be perfect.
Yeah,
You're a parent. There
that's
is no
right.
such thing as perfect.
But don't we just want that?
But you've got shame. So the biggest thing that I was taught, and this is a Wayne Brusso thing, 100% a Wayne Brusso thing, is if you have guilt and if you have love and they arm wrestle, guilt will always win. You want to try to do your best just to come from the loving spot.
So stop wrestling with guilt.
You're going to judge your kids. You're going to want to stop them. You're going to want to do whatever. So it's just taking time with very supportive people that can, if whatever happens, if there's a fallout that happens, that can bring you back up and say, listen, you're doing the best that you can do.
That's right.
And both of you, she's got her own trauma, right? So
That's
she's
right.
navigating her own stuff, and you're still navigating your own life and becoming the best version of you.
I think the hardest part about it is letting that be for her.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's the hardest part. Like, if I'm being quite honest, I'm so selfish in my life and my way of thinking that I ultimately want to give her examples of my life. I want to give her the answers. I want to, like, show her all the things and then fix it.
Yeah.
And it has nothing to do with me.
It's just your approach. So that's
yeah.
what's inside of you that you need to do. That's your that's what's happening, is your parentalness.
Yeah.
I don't know what the right word would be, but
Well,
you
it's
know what
like
I mean?
his-
It's yours
Yeah.
to do it. It's finding the way that she can hear it.
And being brand new, so when I first found out that her mother passed away, and I didn't even know that she was my daughter until I graduated. On my graduation day 3 years ago, they were calling here to find out about me and whatever, and give me the news and everything. And so anyways, we met that summer, and all of this I discussed with Paul when he was still working here.
Hang on 1 second. Do you see how there's a bigger picture?
Yeah.
So when we get into our heads, right, the bigger picture is the universe, God, if you believe in God, whatever, the spiritual universe brought you two together for a reason.
Right.
And it's
And you
the
both need each
reason that
other.
you both need each other.
And that's where Paul was talking about opportunity.
Yeah.
He said, you just need to stay sober
Yes.
to have opportunity.
Yes.
He said, you don't have to be perfect or good at it. He said, you just have to just keep staying. Even when during the missteps, he said, you have to keep staying sober.
Consistent.
Consistency, because you're going to be who you are, and it's like you just have to be available for her. Which,
and admit when you're wrong.
yeah.
And that was
With
the
my
biggest
kids,
thing
I've got
is
to admit when I'm wrong.
my
with
dad
kids.
would say to me, I'm not perfect, and
Yeah.
I will say things that may hurt you, but you need to call me on them.
Yep.
And I would call him on them, and he would say thank you, and then one of the things he said is like, if you think I need a meeting, tell me.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, call
And
me
I
out
would,
on it.
and
Yeah.
I would tell him, I'm like, Dad, like, I don't know what's going on, but like, you're not okay. And he would come right here,
Yeah.
because he knew that he wanted to keep the relationship that he
And take your
True.
opinion for value.
Right.
Right. So we're about to wrap this up.
I just want to say one
Yeah.
thing quickly, please.
Okay, I wanted to see if just before, if you can hold that thought, if you have anything that you would like to tell anybody out there, if you had any sort of a message for people that are striving to find help or recovery, if there's anything that you'd like to say.
Me?
No, that's my lazy eye.
I don't know. So I think that of course you're going to be in fear. There's a lot of fear, but once you start, just keep going and and just be open to the opportunities that come around,
Mm-hmm.
and be open to people that you don't expect
Right.
to be the person that will teach you something, because you'll be blown away by what you
Who
learn.
it is and where
Yeah.
it is. Yeah.
Yes.
It's not necessarily the people that we hold close to us. It could be any random person. That's so. On that quick one, two people are talking. This guy gets sent out of a program to go and help this other person that's struggling. He shows up. The person that's struggling refuses all help. Is determined to just continue his ways. Right. So this guy's having this huge conversation with him at a Tim Hortons. 3 days later, a person sitting at a different table at the Tim Hortons comes into program. Says, "Listen, I heard everything you said. It inspired me to reach out for help." This guy has no idea who this guy is. He's going, "I don't know what you're talking about." He says, "Yeah, you were at Tim Hortons 3 or 4 days ago or whatever it was. You were talking with somebody. I heard everything you said. I called, took the advice that you were giving that guy, and voila, person's recovery journey has started." So it's kind of like, in a sense, you never know who you're helping, when you're helping, or how you're helping, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So just be open-minded. I like that. I like that a lot. And what were you going to say?
So just because you brought up Brentwood quite often,
Mhm.
and you're talking about fear and acceptance, it seems to be like an internal learning and teaching that you're going through,
Mhm.
because I can see you're pondering it. So there's just a very so this is Father's teaching.
Do I wear it that well?
Oh yeah.
I do,
yes.
I know.
You can see
So
it.
you're going to come to what you need to, but in Father's teachings, it's, you can't miss the step to acceptance. So from fear. So one of the things that, most people will mention, the fear of the unknown.
Okay.
Okay. The only way to get through that is faith and trust.
Okay.
It's the opposite of fear. So once and some people don't like the word faith because they believe in religion. So I'm going to explain it with absolutely no religion tied to it at all.
Okay.
So anybody who walks into recovery lacks trust.
Right.
So when you start to build the trust, which always comes with, I've got to take the step into the unknown,
Right.
is when you start to have faith in yourself,
You start building that trust.
and get to the spot where you can accept whatever way back here that fear was.
Right.
So he always taught that the opposite of fear is faith and trust.
So for me,
The opposite. So the Brentwood home, how we're taught and what our lives are going to be moving forward,
Right.
is the forgiveness and acceptance. That's what
Right.
we will daily work on in our lives.
So,
that's Father's teachings.
a lot of what you just said had me go back to moments where an alumni, like Paul Boucher was one of them,
Mm-hmm.
I had went through a lot of similar things, decades ago. So for him to be relativity with me in my life as it was a couple years ago helped me build that first initial trust, not only with somebody who's 30, 40 years older than I am, and then I could put that in practice with people that were in relativity with people like my own age or even younger or whatever, fresh into program, been here for 5 years. So it's like having those connections started help me build trust in myself, knowing I wasn't alone. For me, that's how it started anyway.
Yeah, so that's all.
Okay, if you had anything that you'd like to say, anybody out there that's struggling,
Yes.
the floor is yours.
Peace. No, just joking.
Bye-bye.
For somebody that's struggling,
Or any message. The floor is yours. It could be to anybody, anywhere, anyhow.
if you want it, call somebody and start it. Like if
That's
I'm
it.
thinking of from never being in recovery, just take a step and make a phone call. If your step is you can go to a meeting, that's great. Like whatever you're capable of doing,
Yeah.
just start it.
Yeah. Get loud. Yeah.
And I have friends that aren't in recovery,
Mm-hmm.
and they have reached out to me and
Right.
like, will you go to an AA meeting? And I've gone to AA meetings.
I go to them too.
Yeah, just
Isn't it kind of cool when people reach out? I don't know. I just had it happens
Yeah.
a lot actually when you
It's
start.
beautiful.
It is beautiful.
and it's because I do recover out loud
Yeah.
on my socials,
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
and they know
Yeah.
that I am a safe place, and I
That's
think
it.
that's the biggest thing, is making sure that if you are trying to give back and be there
Yeah.
is to make sure that you are a safe place and learn how to save space for somebody. It doesn't always mean talking. It sometimes just means sitting there
That's
while,
right.
while they are doing whatever they need to do.
Well, I'd like to thank you, wonderful ladies, for coming on and sharing a bit of your story, and thank you for the advice as well. It was needed. Anyways, please don't forget to like, share, subscribe, do all that wonderful jazz, and this concludes another episode of Hours of Clarity. Thank you guys, and thank you very much for joining me.